My name is Dick Cole. I was born in September 7th, 1915.
These men are aviation cadets. A short while ago, they too were average American boys from average American families. In the near future, they will have learned many things. How to pilot a plane, how to navigate, or how to operate a bomb site.
I entered the U.S. Army Air Corps the 22nd of November of 1940. At that time, the Army Air Corps was the only flying part of the Army.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air, President Roosevelt has just announced.
The first time we've taken off of a carrier was when we launched for the mission. You wonder what you're heading into and wondering what was going to happen next. You began to think about what's going to happen to you personally, because none of us had been in combat before, not even Colonel Doolittle. You just had to make up your mind that you don't worry about things happening to you because it's a waste of time. We flew the mission at I'd say an average of 250 feet or 300 feet, except the bombing mission.
The planes sweep in without being discovered. They separate into groups to attack the several objectives carefully selected by means of accurate intelligence to ensure that only targets of military value will be hit. Colonel Doolittle himself has told of flying over the Emperor's palace and refraining from bombing it, though he could have left it in ruins.
But first you should know that this is an airman. He's a cut above all the rest. You see, he signed up for a one-way trip to Tokyo back in April of 1942 with Jimmy Doolittle. It was an audacious mission to avenge Pearl Harbor and all the American lives lost. Our greatest generation, the generation of World War II, secured our freedom for all of us. We've been able to live our lives as a result. And today, I'm so honored to welcome to the stage one of the greatest men of the greatest generation, who, by the way, just celebrated his 101st birthday. An icon of American air power, Jimmy Doolittle's co-pilot, Lieutenant Colonel Dick Cole. Lieutenant Colonel Cole, in the future, when the President calls the United States Air Force and puts us into the fight, what is the name of the bomber that will carry on for all of us?
Good morning. I am very humbled to be here representing General Doolittle and the Raiders at the naming of the B-21 Raider, and wish they were here. We are deeply honored. Thank you.
We were satisfied that, number one, we had done the first part of the original plan, which was to let the Japanese know that they were not safe from air. We didn't know about it, but it improved the morale of the Allies and the people back home.
No matter how long it may take us, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
A lot of the equipment in World War II at the beginning was from World War I. The leaders had to be more innovative in thinking ahead of, hey, what happens if this takes place, and coming up with an answer. No one general is going to have all the ideas. You have to have an arrangement, a staff of different important technology so that you can marry them up with the other units and into a fighting force. visionary tries to do that. But you have to know what the other thinking around the world is. A lot of times it's not in your favor. So you have to keep ahead of it that way.
Seeing how humble they really are in person and how heroic they actually are just in that humility just makes me really glad that I've been a fan of theirs since I was about that high. It's always great when you find out your heroes are even more heroic than you thought they were.
May this building be a place where every day is dedicated to the pursuance of goodness and hope, where victory will triumph over evil. May the current 319th members remember the example that Lieutenant Colonel Cole and his brothers set.
Beginning, the first Air Commando group that was formed back early on. And thank you very much.
We're here to give thanks to these airmen and their insistence that the American way of life was then and is still today worth preserving, and if need be, dying for.
The fact that we had the 79 aviators out here today in flight suits mirrors his viewpoint of everywhere he goes and talks about the Doolittle Raiders. He is acutely aware that he is one of 80, not the one, but the one of 80, and he takes that with him everywhere he goes.
Lieutenant Colonel Dick Poe, United States Air Force retired, is the only one to have flown on the Doolittle Raid, flown the hump, and to be in that first group of air commandos.
When they decided that they were going to form commando units, I didn't even know what air commando meant when they were looking for people that had been flying in the Chinese and Burma area. And since I had done that, in my case, a place for everything and everything in its place.
There's a shared heritage between the Doolittle Raiders and most definitely Colonel Cole and Air Force Special Operations Command. In both cases, it's a daring airman that answered the nation's need for action, both in the Doolittle Raiders case and continue today. It's a shared heritage of taking the fight directly to the enemy that endures.
Start talking.
There you go. So I heard you just had a recent birthday.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be 101?
Well, as a matter of fact, it feels kind of good.
Why is that?
Well, you're still living. If I wake up, I get up.
How would you describe yourself as a young Lieutenant Cole back in the day? What kind of person were you?
As a young person, I became interested in aviation. And the only thing I ever had in mind was fly Army Air Corps. All the time that I was flying with Colonel Doolittle, I was in awe of the fact that I was sitting next to him. He put the word team in the forefront of the English language.
How would you describe yourself today at 101 years old?
A little bit, shall we say, worn and torn, but I feel pretty good.
What have you learned over your 101 years?
Do everything in moderation.
So I want to go back 70 years ago to the Doolittle Raid.
Okay.
What are those memories still vivid in your mind? Do you remember them pretty well?
All the good part of it.
Well, what's something that you remember most about the raid?
Knowing that we did the mission and did it like it was supposed to be done, we felt pretty good about it.
Today, unfortunately, you're the last surviving member. How does that feel to be the sole one?
Well, it's kind of a paradox. You can't help but be happy that you're here, but on the other side of the coin, you also wish that the people that were with you were here too. But you know that's not possible, so you just have to live with it.
I don't think any of the group consider themselves to be heroes. We were job-oriented, and we were all happy with the fact that we did our job. The heroes of World War II were not only the people that gave their life, but the people like the men and women that built the equipment that we were able to fight the war with.